Hello, welcome, good morning, good evening. This is Social Q. I know this is not a completed episode, but we really wanted to talk about this. This was something that we just discovered late at night, and it's about 1 in the morning right now, and we just wanted to get this out there. Noah, go ahead and say hi to the people before we begin our thing.
Hello.
Yes.
We're muffled right now because did my first shift over at a grocery store, and I'm afraid of getting my friends sick, but I'm still hanging out with them. So we're wearing masks right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's that muffled.
Huh.
All right, we're going to move on from that. So our very quick topic for this mini, I guess like a sub-episode that we're going to call it. Like a sub-episode. Is... Sub-episode, I like that. You hear this piece of paper? This is The Standard, Missouri State University's newspaper. And I got a copy of it, I think about 3 days ago. I think it was, it's almost been a week. And I finally got around to reading it and looking through it and seeing all the articles I wanted to keep, because I now keep newspaper clippings because I'm from the 50s. and I discovered something as I reached the end of the newspaper. There is not one mention of, and because now I'm thinking about that, I'm going to have to bleep that out. So the virus is what we're going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't say. Damn it! I said it again.
Why can't we say it again?
Marketing. I don't know. YouTube demonetized.
God, I hate them.
Yes. So they did not mention once any protocols, any standards, any regulations that the campus needs to enforce.
No PSAs.
Yes, nothing in this 100-page newspaper had anything to do with preventing people from getting a virus.
Why don't we discuss what they do mention?
Yes, we will discuss what they do mention, but first, Noah, go ahead and tell the people how many cases have been already confirmed again. How many cases have popped up?
So they confirmed 20-something cases. And then apparently, I can't confirm this one. I'd have to fact check it, but if I remember correctly, it might have doubled since they first recorded those cases whenever the school semester started. So it might be in the 40s now.
Yeah, we actually go to this school. We're not like weirdos who are just bashing on a university. No, this is our school we're talking about. We go to here. We've been going to that school for 3 years, 4 years now.
I'm doing a live fact check right now, so you can keep talking.
Yeah. Thanks for throwing that on me. But we actually know firsthand knowledge of everything that's going on there. So, we see no social distancing. We see no enforcement of the mask mandate, which, by the way, Springfield is still doing.
By the way, masks aren't required in the PSU, apparently.
They're not?
Yeah.
That is complete.
Which is technically against the mask mandate.
How was it against it?
I mean, because it's a building. You're supposed to be wearing a mask. But I think the whole logic behind it is, well, it's also an area where people eat. But you can literally still mandate people wear the mask.
Yes. My fiance, she works at a restaurant, and they are not allowed to let people in if they don't have a mask on. They have to have it on their face, over their nose and their mouth, people, and they can seat them that way. Once you get to your seat, apparently, this is what she told me, you still aren't supposed to take off your mask. You're supposed to wait until you order the drinks and the drinks come to you. And you are allowed to take off your mask once your drinks get to your table. That's when you can take off your mask at a restaurant. Okay?
Okay, so as of now, 38 cases have been reported at MSU.
And this is only week 1.
As of the 16th. So
it's been more than a week.
Yeah.
It's been a little over a week. It's only week 1 of classes starting for this university only.
Daily average is 8.
Do you know Drury's? Do you know if Drury is open?
I'm pretty sure Drury is open.
Is it? Okay, 2 out of the 3 major colleges in this town have open. Next week, OTC is about to start their classes. Okay, but I kind of trust OTC because again, my fiance, she goes to OTC. She's hearing about all the regulations that people have to do in order to even go into the buildings at OTC.
Well,
this is a community college.
6 athletes from Drury University as of recently. This was a 7-hour. This was a story reported 7 hours ago. 6 athletes from Drury University tested positive for COVID-19. 6. Which, yeah, may not sound like a lot, but 6 can turn into a lot.
6 can double. 6 can triple in the next couple of days.
Bet your ass that 30 to 40 could go.
It can go.
That can go fast.
So the very idea of this virus is scary enough. But to think that our university's newspaper, it's not that big. It's not that big of a deal because, like, who reads the newspaper? Me.
But also the fact that they're not trying is kind of...
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost to the point where they're
the principle of it.
They're like actively trying to not talk about it.
It's the principle of the thing. It's the principle. Because if they're not doing it in the newspaper, what about your social media accounts? What about your activity events? The events on campus? What about them? If you're not going to do it, the minimum of just writing it down and handing it to people, what makes you think that you're going to do it at a major event live for all to see? I don't understand this. And the articles that are in here are just, life is normal. Life is just casually going along. They have articles like, when I was a freshman, which reminds me of The Lion King when I was a young warthog. Study block. Here's where to go for the best off-campus study spaces. You know where the best one is for right now? Your dorm room. It's the safest spot at the moment. Especially if
it's the hottest spot on campus to study in your room. It's your room.
Yes. So they're not even trying to...
they're not even trying. They're just like, study outside.
It's not the fact that they're not talking about it. They're not even trying to, steer people away from these activities. They're actually encouraging these types of activities. It just doesn't make any sense.
To bring the virus to the community of Springfield?
You're
going to get students getting it from people within Springfield and then bringing it back to their own communities?
Yes. It's just a cycle here. Because here's another article. It's looking for a new downtown favorite. It's about hotspots in Springfield where you can go to eat. They're encouraging. I understand the local economy. You gotta boost it. You got all these fresh, new people in town. You gotta put them out there. But to not even talk about any safety guidelines that you can just practice on your own. I mean, money management is obviously going to be a big thing that people are going to talk about in this article. So I'm not going to dish on that. But there's an article here about new roommates. Okay? They don't mention how you can safely live with someone. I mean, that should have been the first priority.
Yeah.
That should have been like the first article on in this new edition is like practicing living with someone during this pandemic. Not like just a regular, new roommate. Oh, you're gonna have some problems. You're gonna have to get used to living with some other person. Instead of talking about living,
a virus that's killing 100,000 people in this country.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No, we get it. We get it. It's probably not going to kill someone who's like 20 something. No, I mean, of course that's not like the everyone. Like there's some people who have immunodeficiencies, but like it's still important to do this because you're going to hurt people because chances are you're going to come into contact with someone who is 40 or above, and people who are even 30 something have been dying from these. I mean, people who actually have been younger have died from it. It's just rarer cases, but people have died in all age groups. It's not you can't just ignore it and just act like it's okay just because we're all young, because we all know someone who's older. Chances are most people know someone who's older.
Yeah. And so I'm not saying we've jumped the gun and just sprung on this one issue because we don't know. We're not news people. We're not here to update you on everything. You know, there could have been one earlier in the summer, right, when this pandemic happened in the beginning. But this is August 2020. And so this is the first edition that new coming freshmen and possibly transfer students are going to see. They're not going to be like, well, I want to see an edition from earlier in the summer, right? They're not going to ask for that. They're going to ask for this edition. The first newspaper that they're going to see on campus talks nothing about the new thing that we have to get used to. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, next thing is sports. Now, they have talked about sports a little bit in these past few, months about how college sports are going to work and everything. And the only time that the virus and this pandemic is mentioned is through quotes and paraphrasing in the sports section. And you know who's talking about it? The coaches. Because they understand. They understand that they have to have these protocols in place for the players. But the thing is that they're not in the headlines. You know? The headline for this is football looks to move forward with new coach. It's talking about the new coach for the football team. And when does it mention the virus or the pandemic? Last paragraph. It's literally the last word, actually. That's it. That's all I've seen.
And also, let's be clear. We're not bashing on the people who are writing these things. Because chances are they're being encouraged or pushed to write these articles that aren't acknowledging the pandemic by people who are higher up within the standard, itself. So it's probably not their fault, but the people who are directing them to write certain stories, they need to push them to actually write things that are helpful to people living in a pandemic and aren't pushing them, at the very least, not pushing them to do things that are harmful for their families or the broader community that they live in.
Okay. All right. So we can back off them a little bit here. Here's why. I found here there are templates for advertisement. There's one about the CDC guidelines. And that's it. And this is towards the end of the newspaper, page 95. Please wear a cloth face covering. Maintain a distance of 6 feet whenever possible. And that's it. They just give the CDC logo and everything. And this is the only thing that talks about the current situation we're in. What do you think?
I think it's
because obviously they're not hiding it. Because otherwise, why would they put that in there?
It's not surprising to me, because when you look at the Twitter for Missouri State, the things they say are so tone deaf on the Twitter. I'm numb to their reactions. There's students on there. There's this one student, real OG by the way, dude's commenting the live death count from under every, oh, hello, bears, you better wear face masks, woohoo, bear up, post, under every single happy-go-lucky post that they're posting, acting like everything's normal, they post a death count. And finally, Missouri State had responded to them. And they're like, oh, well, we're actually putting in measures against this. And then literally someone right under them, they're like, okay, yeah, well, you can put as many measures as you want, but people are still partying. You can't stop them from partying, which that's the complete point. You can do however many measures you want on campus with face masks or whatever, but the people are going to party. I mean, this is kind of a party school. I mean, we do serious things here, but there's a lot of people who party here.
And at that point, I feel like it's a community issue.
Yeah.
At that point, because you could do all the measures you want on campus, but once they step foot off campus property, they're the community's problem.
And the thing is, though, a lot of it is on campus property, though.
Yeah.
You see, frat houses or sorority houses, if they're partying, that's on campus property, but they're still not, like, you can't regulate all that. No matter what you do, you can't really do it. You can't regulate all that because, like, all of them are having parties all at once for rush. And I'm not saying it's just their problem. It's not just the Greek life. I think it's all most organizations are doing this shit. I mean, there's a lot of Christian organizations that are doing this, and they're just like gathering all together, getting pizza, and everybody has their face mask off. And I don't care if you're outside or inside. Virus isn't like give a shit. It'll spread.
Yeah, viruses don't discriminate. They don't like play favorites. They don't care.
They'll spread.
They will do whatever it takes to multiply. Okay? Like, being outside is not like a preventative measure from the virus. It will get you outside.
Am I saying that you can't take off your mask if you're away from people and there's like nobody around you and you're in nature? No, I'm not saying that. You can take off your mask in that point. But use common sense. If you're in a group of people and you're less than 6 feet away from each other, first of all, you shouldn't get in that situation. But if you are in that situation, you'd be wearing a mask. For damn sure you should be wearing a mask. You're not seeing that. There's people posting pictures online and tagging Missouri State. And literally the Missouri State responded to one of them and said like, oh, well, we're sticking by the mandate. And nothing in the mandate says you have to wear masks outside. Well, we're not talking about the mandate. Nobody's coming over here being legal police. We're not being police. Like, oh, the mandate says this. No. We're upset because we don't want to get sick. We don't want to get our families sick. We don't want to get this. Because, I mean, it can cause lasting effects on your lungs. There's also been studies about that. People don't know the lasting effects of but putting that aside, if you don't even care about that, think about people going back to their families and giving it to them. People have been dying, and the Missouri State response is, "Oh well, we're sticking by the mandate. Still, we're fine." It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's very upsetting, and it's why we had to bring this episode into the light, and hopefully, like, some of y'all hear this and actually speak out against, what's going on and the university. And on that note, we thank you for listening. Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @GillyMorals, no space, no capitals, at NoahPagan12.
We discovered that.
Don't worry about that.
We'll talk about it later.
Thank y'all for listening. Social Q out.